Hello, everybody. Welcome to 2021. It has been more than 2 months since my last podcast, since of last year, back in November of 2020. And I wanted to say to everyone that have listened or have come to my podcasts, I wanted to say thank you for everyone for returning and taking a listen to my podcast. I really appreciate all the time that you put to come here and taking a listen to all my news, my message on the latest in technology, the good, the bad, and the ugly, what comes in the future. And I'm sure that everyone is feeling the same way and how things are going to be in within next few months from now here in the year 2021. So yeah, so it is very much a big leap and a big step of what we've definitely seen from 2020 and the effects that this pandemic has destroyed. But however, a lot of things have definitely have changed, and for a lot of us, good or bad, what you seen this from the pandemic. However, I'll be talking a little bit about the science of the coronavirus and big tech that's been going on. And now, as everyone noticed, I am you'll be hearing this show by the time it's released around within the morning. So to you'll be listening to this podcast around this afternoon. So everybody is listening. It'll be January 20th of today. So and before I begin, I want to just go ahead and take a quick stop by and let just mention you about a quick word of my sponsor, which is Zenni. And Zenni, I am wearing Zenni glasses right now. As I'm recording, I want to just go ahead and let you know that I love Zenni's because it helps my eyes. My eyes doesn't get strained while I'm doing work. And I think that's one of the best parts about having a Zenni glasses is if you don't have Zenni's, what are you doing? You're definitely working the computer for long hours or playing video games for long hours and not knowing that you're damaging your eyes with blue lights right in front of your face. And if I were you, I would go ahead and pick up some Zennies. And as of today, I've actually went ahead and purchased another pair of Zennies, and something I'm gonna be doing. And I figured, hey, how about another Zennies to go or Zennies while I'm looking over down my phone, which would be a pretty good idea considering that I will be working. And however, the glasses I received from a friend of mine, however, I lost a screw from today. It sucks, I know, but however, I figured at this point in time, I'd love to see a nice new pair of glasses coming into my doorstep. So I can't wait to wear it and probably wear it live on stream on Twitch. So let's go ahead and see how that goes and once that comes into the door. So with that said, I'll have all the affiliate links down below, including Podbeam, Blueberry, which I both recommend for everyone to check out. Now, with that said, let's get on to today's episode. Without no introduction, music. Wow. Well, happy 2021, everybody. Man, it's been a wild year last year, and to me, and this is going to be about technology, but in a sense, we are definitely going to get and jump into a bit of politics. Since I know a lot of technology does have politics, and now with last year with big tech censorship and a lot of things that's been going around everywhere else. That's where we're just definitely going to talk about, which is tech censorship and how this is going to affect now with the year 2021 right now. Continuing on, and we're here early in the start of the year 2021. And now, this is one thing I will definitely bring in what I would expect in a Biden administration and what I see how the big tech is going to do during the Biden administration. And I'm sure everybody that knows this already, I'm sure that I'm pretty much late in the news, which I haven't pretty much talked nothing at all about since for me I've been out months and months on end. which I will be going about it in a next episode about it, which has been recorded. But I figured I'll go ahead and put my thoughts about what's going on and what is gonna do now with the Biden administration. And I will tell you that I'm not gonna try to put my personal opinions about it too. And I know that everybody has their own views about the Biden administration. And I know people are gonna have their own opinions about Trump on this one. And to me, I'm gonna be as non-biased as I can too. Where you like Trump or hated Trump or dumb Trump or whatever, your opinions about it. However, I would say is that his administration, I would say he was okay, but I wasn't the biggest fan to begin with, nor am I still am. And however, I think he, just to have some credit with some of Trump, there was no new wars. However, we still had soldiers up our own U.S. soldiers in the Middle East. Just to be fair, and to put it bluntly, is that that's in a way a bit of respect. I would say that at least no new wars have been created, which is good. And right from the beginning of 2021, everybody was worried that we were going to have a new war. And all things were hell were going to break loose. But thankfully, not so much, which is, I'd say that was good. Really good that nothing had happened. But then what happened in March? The pandemic hit, and that's when things took a big toll for everybody. Jobs lost, everything like that as well. Now, however you guys see with his past things with Trump, and I know that there are some things that I liked about Trump and plenty of things I disagreed. And to me, what I can tell right there was that with everything going on, what your feelings and thoughts about the whole U.S. Political situation, I think the left, the right, gosh, just a clown show. It's just amazing how people are hypnotized with their telescreens and having the media tell them what to do, which is absolutely crazy where things are going to go. So, and for me, I'm just going to tell you a few things which, for me, like for instance, the Trump administration didn't put the big regulations on tech, which I know there was big lawsuits with Facebook and with 48 states, and plus they've gone through a lot of trouble already, more than 10 times here in the courts. And with Zuckerberg, just sued 10 times with antitrust lawsuits. This tells you something about big tech, and with it's already been proven already with other sources and with the alternative media, even though not all of the stories are going to be correct with alternative media. One of the things you have to put down right there is that, yes, with big tech, Google, Facebook, Apple, and Twitter, and which they pretty much colluded around 2016. And just to be fair, there's been some things that's already been it's been proven and shown that it has happened. And so you look at the political situation over here in the United States too. It's definitely going to be a big switch with now big tech colluding with the Democrats, these so-called liberals right here too. Though I am trying my best not to get into a big of a bias, but however, that's how things are going to definitely be played out. And the way I see with big tech going with the new administration, and with right there, where I can see if big tech should or should not be regulated, that's going to be a conversation for a future episode right there. So one of the future predictions I will say, coming from the Biden administration, where this is going to go. And for instance, I don't think there's going to be big regulation in big tech, though. As far as the Republican side, I think they would have had wanted to regulate what they could have had done, though that may not be a big or popular opinion to many. I will say is that this is something that I think some people wanted to, because the big tech monopolies already have way too much power that they have to. And so that's one thing I already see on my top one why I think uh, this is going to be a very easy down the road of lenient but no big regulations on big tech like those guys that I've just mentioned. So yeah, so that's why I think in a Biden administration, that's where I can see that things are going to be, like I've said, very lenient towards um, Biden and the rest of his administration moving forward. And then, of course, those are I've already known, and I've had covered this on a recorded session that I've actually put in some notes on down about what had happened to Trump. I'm sure everybody has known that pretty much Trump is no longer on Twitter. Whoa, wow, big surprise, right? I'm sure that everyone knows it, and with him having such a big following, this is quite huge for a company to step up and take rid of the president of the United States. And to me, and this is something that have happened when he was still in office, technically still in office, and this is something that no company would have taken down a leader of the United States to do that. But however, with that said, that is a huge deal. Having someone to cut him off a platform that he used to communicate to the public and his followers. So that was one thing I've seen. I've seen that this is going to be a very lenient time, doing what already has been put up on with big tech already, and I think there's going to be definitely be more collusion, things like that too, with big government and big tech colluding with each other, which to me that this is not going to be no surprise. And secondly, one of the things I want to add into my list, I think it would have to definitely be the big brother surveillance increasing. Now, as I think some of you may have known, but I think a big brother surveillance is definitely going to start to increase more and more what is going to go on in the United States. But this is not just a United States problem. However, I do think that big brother surveillance is going to start creeping in other parts of the countries, which which I know is still going to happen. But I think where this is going to go with people talking about things that are talking about online, and I think they're like the government is definitely going to go ahead and crack down on encryption in the United States. And I know that's not something I wouldn't want to see that, which I never want to see that for sure. But however, with the Snowden revelations, and for I think sure with many of you that know already that where the Biden administration is going to be, which I'm sure that he's definitely going to go ahead and follow in the footsteps of his predecessor, where this is going to be with what what you call Obama has pretty much previously done, and pretty much he's going to reverse a lot of the things, a lot of the regulations back here in the United States and for businesses as well. So that's where I can see that happening right there as well. So that further said, that is something it's going to creep into, and that's where it is going to go down. Now for privacy, I know that privacy, online privacy is already dead. Let's put it this way, right there. And I'm sure a lot of people will disagree that, well, that's not true. We definitely have privacy, which that's not. I would have to disagree for those that want to counter me on that. But however, I think that right to privacy online is pretty dead. Though, if you're talking about privacy in real life, I'm sure that no government will step in the home of the United States and creep into. But I'm sure that's not a surprise for I, since I'm sure that governments in any way would have done anything to spy on anyone, including people's homes, of course, and people. And while you're in your phone, your people will look what you've been looking about up on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. So that's where it all comes down to as well. And to me, I believe in the importance of the First Amendment, free speech, and as those that already know, I think there is a huge argument coming down with big tech like Twitter, like I just mentioned, that they've already taken Trump's account down, and to me, doesn't surprise me. I mean, people are saying that, oh, this is going to be aimed on conservatives only, and where you see this or not, but I don't think it is just going to be aiming just on conservatives right here. This is going to be aimed on other people's, the other oppositions, like the liberals, for example, and libertarians, so on and so forth. And to me, there's going to be so many people that will kind of clap on the disappearance or ban for Donald Trump's ban on Twitter. But for me, it's like this. Like, I did check on Donald Trump's tweets. Now, I didn't felt too threatened about that too, as many people felt like, oh, how dare they? How dare he said those things, right? But that's just something that people are just not going to understand. I don't think it was a huge threat. What he said, in fact, even the president himself, he did said that he didn't support the violence from either side, left or right, and that's one thing I would agree, because there's not a lot of people are listening what is coming down as well too. But however, as I am recording, of course, by the time 12 noon p.m. or after 12 noon p.m., that's when Biden is going to be taking over, which within the next few hours, once I have this published, that's where things are going to enact on Biden right now too. So for me, am I a fan of the new administration? Not so much. And I was not even a fan of Trump or Obama by any means or any measure too. Like I said, I am very neutral. I give respect to anyone that does a really good job, but it's just something I'm not going to go ahead and say, hey, this is my man, this is my guy right here too. But however, no, I don't choose favors or sides right here too. To me, I'm very neutral to where I'm at with this right there too. But I think with the things that's been going on in the tech world recently, and to me, I'm to a point that I am ready to let go of social media. Like, actually, I let go of Facebook back in 2013 throughout Snowden's revelations. And to me, it was a good thing. It was actually a breath of fresh air that leaving Facebook was the best thing. And to me, I'm going to do the same with Twitter. To me, I have no use with Twitter, right? And to me, it's not just the nail in the coffin, what they did with Trump's account. I don't think I'm not to worry about it. But the problem is that the funny thing is, I'm talking about Twitter right now. And to me, what is going to go down with Twitter is it's already way too powerful than it is. And I'm not real surprised at what's going on. And to me, I don't think Twitter within the next decade, of course, anybody can call me wrong about this too. And I do hope I am wrong, that Twitter's relevancy is not going to be anywhere near that reach. To be quite honest. And as far as I can see, the platform Twitter, and here's the thing about Twitter, they call it a social media platform. There's been big debates whether Twitter is a platform or a publisher. Well, I'd say it is a publisher because they can cut people off, and they can choose whether to keep that person or not, or keep them to say whatever, well, that's not into their policy. And that's one thing right there too. And of course, this is not just Trump that they took out and say, oh my god, what happened, right? And to me right here, if I want to promote my show anywhere here, like the Leland Gray podcast here, I wouldn't want to just go and rely on social media. Of course, you can rely on all tech, all tech platforms to do that. I just don't think Twitter and Facebook are the only kids in town. You know, or the only the only kids in town. Which to me, there are other alternatives out there to that. For me, the way I see it, right there too, and that's where I kind of find where this is going to go with these platforms, and also YouTube as well. On YouTube's relevancy, it's not going to be as big what it once was, and I know there are still billions of people. And to me, I haven't deleted my YouTube account for several reasons, because I've actually have doing some business on YouTube as well, publishing publishing the videos over on YouTube, because there's still people watching stuff on YouTube, and people are still there. You know, of course. Now, where I see the platform right here is that for creators, they're still gonna get screwed. They're not gonna be making as much in Google's AdSense, where I can see this happening right there. So to me, this you're not gonna get money or any big incentives publishing just on Google. This is where I think people still continue to rely on the big Google machine, and that's where it is quite dangerous to rely on just Google, and you don't want to do that. And to me, I already have platforms like Library, Rumble. I just registered an account on Rumble, where to me, I want to start relying on small innovations, small tech, other than big tech like the Googles of the world or the Apples of the world, right? To me, I just don't want to do that, and that is just right there is a recipe of disaster. Relying all your eggs in one basket, and this is for me. I've already seen what the platform has evolved into already, and of course, I've grown up with YouTube throughout my teenage years. I've seen what the platform has become, and even though I'm not a big creator myself, I only have 69 subscribers the last I've checked. But still, to me, I would have had continued on YouTube if I put time on it and whatsoever. Though, I mean, this podcast is still going to be published on YouTube, so I can still get a reach over in that platform. And plus, I can use Library, for instance, maybe BitChute or other alternative platforms. I can get my reach elsewhere as well. And this is why I'm saying to many creators out there is that do not rely on big tech. You know, they're already concluding with big government, and that's where I think where there's going to be more censorship right there, even for people that are like pro liberty, pro freedom kind of people. Google does not want that kind of thing right there too. But I'm not just saying just pro liberty, pro patriot kind of content, right? And what the weirdest thing about the whole thing, and this was something I've read as well and watched, the crypto sphere, is that they're censoring crypto channels, which is very weird. I didn't think they're going to do anything like that at all. I guess at this point there's there's nothing that they can stop. At this point, I figured they would be biased and just kind of those Christian conservative type people, but no, I guess they're gonna go after anyone that is gonna go against the whole status quo, alternate currencies, just people with big ideas, different free thinkers, something like that. This is something that they're gonna go full on arms for. If you said something really really bad, oh, they're gonna get you. Or whatever that may be. And to me, I've always questioned how the hell are some of these creators are still making their way through. And to me, I think the big thing is that since now you've got people in the crypto world talking like about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, which is a very big thing right now. It has had its gains. That's one thing, is that they're not gonna get these kind of voices into their platform, because at the end of the day, they're concluding with big government, and they want to make their people very happy. That's how it all comes down to. They're just concluding with the democratic machine, all that stuff. It is very very terrible. And heck, even if this audio podcast gets censored, or gives me a strike for any reason, then I know that something is already wrong with their platform. So that won't be a big surprise on my end. Now, with things in the way here, though, I want to go ahead and read up an article I just found on the weeklybliss.net. Though I don't know what their partnership is like. However, this I've read a bit before even bringing this to my attention to my podcast, but I felt that this was very, very relevant to what is going on today for sure, and what is going on in our current states, which the headline goes up as "Big Tech Exclusives Are Inside Biden's Administration." So, wow. So let's find out what those people are, what they're in for. So Chuck Ross, I believe that's the author. Oh, no. The one that written this down is Desk Blitz. Oh, interesting. So Chuck Ross. So who the heck is he? At least 14 people who President-elect Joe Biden has picked to serve either in his administration or to advise his transition have worked for the big tech firms that cracked down earlier this week on President Donald Trump and a social media site popular with conservatives. I guess not just conservatives, really. Apple's big lobbyist, a chief advisor to the Biden transition team, a former Facebook executive, will serve as staff director in the Biden White House, and a former Twitter executive will serve as chief spokesperson for the National Security Council under Biden. Wow, I can't believe this. Oh my goodness. Current and former executives at those firms and two others, Google and Amazon, fill out other positions in the incoming Biden administration or his transition team. The five tech giants all took action this week against Trump and Parler, the social media site, in response to riots at the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday. Twitter permanently banned Trump over what it called violence theoretic in the wake of riots at the U.S. Capitol building. Trump supporters breached the Capitol building to protest a vote to confirm Joe Biden as president. Okay, let me not continue on, because I know there are some things that are not true, but which, however, I will say is that part of it of the article, it is very very biased, but it does tell me that for one right here, you definitely have like big tech that are going to be working under the Biden cabinet. So that tells you right there that there are people that are going to do something to get anyone that is outspoken about the Biden administration trying to pull people out for saying the wrong things. It's like, for instance, even especially with this week, I will admit that I do follow a few political figures, especially like Ron Paul, however, very big influential guy. Now, for some reason, Facebook decided to take his Facebook account temporarily, and then now he is back on Facebook, though you'll never know when his Facebook account is going to be taken down again. but we will never know, because that's one thing, is that with these social media giants, they can do one thing, and then the next they can just go ahead and with the snap of their fingers bring that bring that back. So to me, that's just tells you one thing about social media as a whole. Right there is, they shouldn't be trusted by all means. And to me, as I like I've said, if I've taken down my Facebook account years ago, then I think anybody with a Twitter account should do as well, because you don't need social media to advertise. I mean, all you need to do is get yourself out there with different alt platforms. Get your word out as much as you can through SMS, and other platforms that you can reach up to people. Even word by mouth, and try to do that as well, because hey, it's always good to have a good, healthy conversation, and especially with Twitter cancel culture. I don't know. That's something I don't like, where the platform is heading to, and how people are using that platform is really, really distasteful. I don't like the cancel culture on Twitter, but I think at this point, we're in a free society. People can do whatever they want. So yeah, it's really stupid where this is all going. But this is definitely what we're seeing with the Biden administration. And for instance, like, especially there are people, like, our other topics I can go down more and more, like especially this article here with the human events written by Charlie Kirk, which to me, I think Charlie Kirk is okay, but I know that Charlie Kirk is, which I can tell, very conservative leaning, which I could tell, and what I've seen and read on his part. But in his article, which says failure to contain big tech is the biggest failure of 2020. However, as much as there are some views I don't share with Charlie Kirk, however, the headline just tells you something right there, and I do believe that he is right. And I'll go over just a bit, which it says, I've weighed through the weekend for nearly every major publication and most of the noted opinion writers to weigh in on their thoughts about 2020. Many have hit on the obvious themes: the Chinese coronavirus pandemic, George Floyd and race riots, the fake Ukraine impeachment scandal, and most recently, election fraud. I like to take a different route and offer, instead of my thoughts on what the year 2020, now hindsight wasn't. And as I'll continue on with the article, it wasn't the year we did something substantial about big tech and the incredible influence and it has established over our individual and collective lives. My friend, Senator Ted Cruz, said in an interview on Saturday while he was campaigning on the Senate race down in Georgia, races where Facebook recently disabled the Republican fund raising pages, that Google was the most dangerous company on the face of the planet. He said out Google because it's the biggest by far. It is the most powerful by far. It controls the vast majority of searches people do. And I will actually have to agree with Ted on this one, Ted Cruz. And this actually article has some good points right there too. Even though, yes, there are definitely bias with big tech on the right there too. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone on the left being censored though. But that is kind of a question that I'll have to look into, where Google is standing on, especially on free speech, and how they are controlling the flow of information right there too. But this is just the tip of the iceberg, or which this tells you everything where big tech is going right there too. And it doesn't surprise me. And I know, for one thing, going down and ending my podcast in this conclusion right here, I do think that we definitely have to work on ourselves on decentralization and spreading ourselves far and wide, what we're going to be doing, because this is something that we're definitely in a serious roads, and people cannot just rely on one single platform. And to me, I don't use platforms like, especially WhatsApp, which is now a application controlled by Facebook, Messenger, a Facebook product, and what else I'm thinking. I can't take this off my head, but oh yeah, Instagram, which is a photo sharing site owned by Facebook as well. I mean, as you can tell, it's this is definitely a big monopoly, a very huge monopoly as well. And this is where I always tell people, do not stay in one single platform. And that's why me and a friend of mine that's been working on the blog, Bots on the Go, dot XYZ, is spreading ourselves far and wide. We're not just reliant on just YouTube. We're putting ourselves out there like Minds, LBRY/Odyssey, Rumble.com, you name it. And in fact, Rumble right now, especially how much it is growing. To me, I think Rumble is definitely going to be the answer. And LBRY, with its features of decentralization, that's where I think this is where it's going to have to go. This is going to be the answer to most of these big tech issues. And however, one thing I think people will have to look into is get off of WhatsApp, because I used WhatsApp in the early days when before it was actually bought off from Facebook actually. And no more that I went ahead and continued on that platform. No mas. That's where I just said, enough. I'm not going to give my my data the rest of Facebook. And why the hell should I? Even a few weeks back, with Facebook being the big news because of WhatsApp is now going to start fully integrating on the Facebook service, which pretty much what has happened is that by the time they've made this new policy where all pretty much it was a let me read this right here, word by word. Millions are now planning to do the same after a backlash over data sharing with Facebook. So there we go. That was a big headline from last week, and that was the big scandal. Why it was the way it is right now too. So I actually, funny enough, like especially I actually know. For some reason it's so funny because I kept a friend of mine that I have in my contacts, an old guy I used to know from way back from high school. He actually ended up signing up for Signal, and it was it was so funny to see him on Signal. I was just like, what the heck, right? And this is what I'm talking about too. It's first it was 10 million users, and then it just jumped all the way up to 50 million downloads from that week. It was just the one Signals. It was one of the most biggest platform to ever jump this amount of downloads ever. And after the huge flock of people, that's where a lot of people have said, no, enough is enough. I'm not giving my data to Facebook. I think a lot of people are definitely waking up of what they're seeing as well. Not just Signals, but Telegram as well. I mean, this Telegram is a big messaging service as well. So you look at Telegram, this is why people are just getting the hell out of there and looking for full on privacy. And that's why I'm just to a point. Is like, look, if you want good fundamental privacy, look elsewhere. So, stop messing with these Facebook apps. That's just for me to a point that I'm just not gonna go through all that bullshit with these other companies. No. Mm-mm. And to me, that's just to a point that a lot of people are not gonna change, and a lot of people aren't gonna see the change until they realize, hey, I don't want people looking to my personal messages. So no, thank you. But I don't know. I don't think people are not that just gullible to let big tech go to their messages. I'm sure there's people smart enough about it, but I actually know some people that are still stuck in their ways because either they don't want to leave the platform because they have people that still use WhatsApp or those messaging sites that still goes into your phone or goes into your private information, which to me I don't recommend at all. I really don't. So, by all means, do yourselves a favor. De- um, Decentralize yourself. It'll be a good thing for anyone to do. And please, by all means, it'll be the best thing for anyone just to get off these platforms and get away. What would happen if all your SMSs will be locked into as well? Now, however, just going back into in depth about it too, with what had happened is that with people flocking in, I know Signal, the company Signal, or didn't even expect this kind of numbers, all these big numbers, um, and all these people downloading Signals because of what has happened, and it's been crazy. Because the thing about with Signals is that Signals is a very small foundation that are building a service for privacy, and they do rely on donations and to function as a not a company, excuse me, as a foundation to work on it too. And plus, I did put $3 to support the foundation, and I do hope that Signal works out a way that they can keep up with all these many people. So, best wishes to them. And I do. This is the reason why I support uh, companies like that does a big favor in supporting privacy. To me, I'm to a point that that I'm just gonna get rid of Twitter, even though I do have a following on Twitter. I don't have a huge following, but I do have still have a good moderate, big, moderate following, like 800 people. But still, I'm sure that's for a lot of people out there that's nothing. But for me, that's something. And to me, these are something that I've had for a couple years right now, and I've used Twitter as a platform since 2009. That's a long time. That's over a decade ago. You're talking about over a decade ago that I've used freaking Twitter, of all things. And that's something that for me right there, I've used for mostly since my late teens, right? Since I was 16 or 17. That was quite a big thing, but now Twitter, on the other hand, not so cool anymore, right? See what I'm saying? So that's why I'm just ditching out all the big tech right there. And big tech, to a point, is that if they're not gonna respect users' privacy, do anything to help that and start giving their data to big government, that's to a point that I'm just like, no, I'm done. I'm out. And for me, lastly, I do want to come back uh, on the subject about the Biden administration. Even though, yes, I do think that there are things that are going to continue to get worse before it becomes better. And I think there's going to be more worse than better, to be quite honest. But I think that there is going to be a time that, for me, um, with things being very aggressive, I, I could definitely see the Biden administration being very aggressive on speaking out against certain things that you wouldn't want to say on the internet. So there are definitely some aggressive pushes out there that the Biden administration is going to start pushing in and doing things that they're not going to like. However, because I know with the Trump administration, I'm sure that if you criticize Trump, there are uh, tons of things what Trump and his administration would have cared less, right? By all means, because they've had better things than to look over at people's account. And because for one, what I can tell you is that I'm sure that Trump has got all the hate and all the fuming, fuming hate over his guts after all the things he's written down in on the land of Twitter. I and I know that he wasn't very very popular with everybody, and that I understand. But I think there are going to be a point that with Biden's administration, it's going to get much more serious and much more tougher on how way things he's going to start operating, right? So no question about it, and I'm sure there's people are going to disagree with me about that last part, but I think that there's going to be a much more aggressive step to his approach, which I'm not the biggest fan where this may be as far his approach on social media. And but to me, I think this he's going to most likely take a far more aggressive approach Trump's than Trump's administration by all means too, because to me Trump didn't care. He was very much a pro free speech guy. Okay, he spoke his mind on Twitter for of all places. I mean, he spoke his mind up on rallies, and I have seen it right there too. And either way, I mean, whatever you think about the new administration in power, it's all a clown show at the end of the day. No matter who it is in office, at this point, we're definitely going to see more aggressive tactics in the Biden's in his cabinet, and all things we're going to be seeing, especially the arguments between the pro-maskers and the anti-maskers. And so, and I know that's going to be very controversial things, and still is. And why I say that is that, for one, he's definitely going to have to put more policy about how he's going to say, well, look, we need to take this coronavirus much more seriously. And I think the anti-maskers are definitely going to get hit real hard if you question about certain things that you question about that too. And I know that there's tons of scientists that have definitely debunked about how this virus isn't as bad, especially in the people in Italy. They're already are just saying enough is enough, and people want to go out, people want to get outside and do stuff, which I agree. What is it there for those people to stay in homes all the time? That doesn't work. That doesn't solve a damn thing. Very honestly, too. So I think this is something like why I am gonna see Biden's approach being very, very aggressive as far as people speaking against him, and who knows? And I might be wrong. I'm sure that there are certain things that he may not have. Parts of me are saying it may not be as bad, but at the same rate, I'm sure that Biden definitely wants to take credit for battling the coronavirus, but which at the end of the day, you cannot win against a invincible virus. To me, where I can see the coronavirus, it does have its similarities to the flu. This is all just pretty much a flu, basically. Nothing else. But with that said right there too, I'm going to go ahead and end this right here. What do you think about the whole charade and where this is going to go down with the battle of free speech, the battle of liberty, and what is going on too? For me, I say that with things hitting the fan on the wall and the United States coming closer and closer to authoritarianism on it, and this is my personal view on it too, but I don't think nothing will ever gonna change for that fact in the matter too. All we do need is decentralization and get ourselves out of the big tech world. Get ourselves out completely too and hang these people up. Right down and simple. With that said, thank you so much for taking a listen to the Leland Gray podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please put your reviews down and put your insights on why you think what's going to happen with the world big tech and what they're going to do in the Biden administration. What is your opinions on it? Love to hear from you all. But that said, thanks so much. You guys have a great rest of the day. Ciao for now.